Hey, hello everybody. Scott Golden here with the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series and Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. This is the 14th of July, 1984 edition of the World Class Championship Wrestling program. We've got three first-run matches along with a review match. As known, I don't cover the review matches. If you've followed everything here, you didn't miss anything, so the review matches are irrelevant to the coverage of the program. Anyway, four total segments that are first run. The first is a interview with Chick Donovan and Kevin Von Erich. Von Erich basically vows to get even with Killer Khan. Donovan laid up in the hospital needing surgery after the attack of last week, explaining the attack of last week very well, the dangerous nature of Killer Khan, and the fact that Khan is reckless, careless, and dangerous is the main idea of the entire promo. This is well done. There's sympathy given to the return of Chick Donovan whenever he returns, and also the idea of a Von Erich versus Killer Khan should bring ticket money through the door. Buck Zumhofe and Kelly Kiniski is your opening contest of the week. Not a fan of this, really, but there's reasons behind that. Very basic maneuvers by Buck Zumhofe, and, he stays with the headlock. Kelly Kiniski goes with the roll-through. There's a really Wookiee just drop of the head that makes no sense from Zumhofe for a shoulder tackle that's just really goofy. They work the head for several minutes in the match. It's clear that both guys know how to work. Also clear that they are trying to do the least to get the most. Hammerlocks, rolls onto the shoulder, that sort of thing. A pretty big deal per se. There's actually a leap by Kiniski into kind of an attempt to break the headlock. I think they rely on the headlock a little too much in this match. I mean, literally, there's about a 4-minute headlock in here. It's funny because Zumhofe, as much as I don't like him, he does have good babyface fire when he fires up. They do the tilted leg rollback spot, and then Zumhofe actually gets a spinning toe hold on the man. Spinning toe hold, a big thing in Texas because of the Funks. Not that the Funks are affiliated with World Class, but I think most Texas fans know who the Funks are, even though they're not affiliated with the promotion, as they're up in Amarillo. But anyway, spinning toe hold, a big deal, and has been, obviously. He's been through the area when it was called Big Time Wrestling. It was Dory Funk Jr. as the NWA champion, so they're familiar with the hold, so I think it has value here. Kiniski with a backbreaker that comes out of nowhere, a little more powerful than we're used to seeing him. Also, just a really small stylistic thing I like. Love when guys tilt the chin back after a backbreaker to try and make the back stretch look more lethal. It's just a really interesting stylistic thing. Abdominal stretch by Kiniski, cannot get all he wants out of it, and like I say, they go quite a bit here. To the outside, neck snap by Kiniski, and obviously Buck Zumhofe kind of dives off into the arena floor, surprisingly. Kiniski showing a little bit more heel tendency than normal, making light of the fact that he gets advantages by any means necessary. Nothing wrong with that, but a little surprising. Does not want to allow Zumhofe back into the ring unless absolutely necessary. Zumhofe gets a little bit frustrated by this. Picks up his boombox and basically is ready to deck somebody with it. Back when boomboxes were a thing, now iPods are a thing. But anyway, he's in the middle of the ring dancing and kind of going after things. The match has been deemed a time limit draw. We move on to second match of the evening. Gino Hernandez, the heel and very successful Gino Hernandez with the American Championship against Iceman King Parsons. Parsons certainly has paid off, or his loyalty is paid off. This is the, I think, second time we've seen him in the ring with Gino, which is a step up for him. Crowd completely behind Parsons, even though he hasn't been put in quite this role. Always kind of more a tag guy and in a role where he's right below the main event, but rising to fight Gino Hernandez on this occasion. Lots of trades of arm bars, hammerlocks, and the like. Gino does not want to do any more than is absolutely necessary. He makes it clear that he's consumed with his physical appearance, consumed with how he comes across to the audience, and consumed with not getting his face tattered and beaten up too terribly badly. He goes to work on the leg of Parsons. Parsons, simply put, a man can't stand, he can't fight. And because the majority of his offense on his comebacks, his punches and such, even from a stylistic kayfabe standpoint, this is good strategy by Hernandez. And amazingly, when Parsons gets back to his feet, he's still just as lethal as normal. So tells a really good story here. You can't beat the fight out of Iceman King Parsons, which is really kind of cool, and a payoff to fans supporting him over the last few years. I think there's value in building a guy for 6 months, a year, or longer, and then giving them value to supporting the guy over a period of time. The attempted leg hold by Hernandez, not doing a heck of a lot. When Parsons does finally get his comeback, Gino bumps all over the place for him, as well a good heel should. And, there's definitely an attack dog mentality to Gino Hernandez when he finally does get the advantage. I mean, kick to the side of the head, really aggressive, really, I would say borderline violent by 1984 standards. 1894? No, we didn't have TV then. Anyway, so we kind of move forward, and the Iceman King Parsons tries to go for what looks to be a pile driver, but in a very smart maneuver, Hernandez hits a headbutt to the midsection, maybe a little low, but the referee doesn't acknowledge it as being low, and is able to get enough, distance. And then we see a knee lift from good old Iceman, and a roll up 1, 2, and is that a 2 or 3? It is indeed a 2 count, but it's clunky because there's a crossbody with both guys getting caught in the ropes, but it looked reasonable enough. Sunset flip 1, 2, and they roll through, and a grab of the tights, and Hernandez able to sneak out the back door. I don't often say this, but this is worth going out of your way to see if you're trying to learn how to be an old school babyface, old school heel. Certainly worth seeing. And then we move to the main event. We've given the wrestling part of the program. Now we've got kind of the more, partial circus aspect with the missing link in Kerry Von Erich in your main event. Obviously, the Von Erichs want to avenge Chick Donovan. Link misses the top rope diving headbutt, which doesn't seem to bother him too much, because I don't think there's much in his head to rattle, at least in kayfabe anyway. And so, that's there. Von Erich, once again, only weeks removed from being the world champion, and probably more on fire than he's ever been in his career. Link using his head as a battering ram. Meanwhile, Skandor Akbar on the outside, very upset that the Link is not managing to get things going in his direction. A chair winds up in the middle of the ring as Akbar tries to give his man an advantage. Kerry catches the chair, and nothing really gets settled here. But I think, if you've got several more months of the Link, you don't want to beat him straight in the middle, so the chair is a good option, not to beat him, but to kind of make it look like, hey, anything could happen on any given day. We do see the discus punch by Kerry before the chair. 1, 2, and almost 3, but disqualification as Akbar gets involved. Grabs the chair, and that's basically it for this week. We're midway through July in 1984, and I would say that World Class is definitely up there cooking. So we'll be back with more. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.